Hi guys. I was just using Panasonic bit of plate up again. I'd like to get that fixed. I don't know if I can afford it, but I'm back onto the Sony. I just got it back today, so looks like. So what I was saying before on the other camera, I asked in my last video if anyone had any ideas they wanted me to do for a video. Why Not Forge mentioned the difference between cold chisels, like this one. This is the bought one. Notice the angle of the cutting surface. So cold chisels, that's this was a cold chisel, but I turned it into a hot cut for myself. See, I've refined the cutting edge. I've slimmed it down a lot, made it a lot thinner. This is a hot cut that I did for myself out of spring steel. Fairly steep angle, but still, yeah, I don't know if I use this for cold chiseling or hot cutting, I can't remember now. Another bought one, the fairly steep angle. I went and checked out a few blacksmiths today. They seem to think the rule of thumb for cold chisel angles about 50 to 70 degrees. Another bought one, heavy duty cold chisel. I've trimmed that down a bit, so I could probably use that for hot cuts. A little fella I use probably, I think, for hot cutting. Narrower, just a smaller little chisel. This one's this was like a bought chisel, but I've cut it down for a specialised job. I forget what it was. I just needed something with a narrower cutting edge there. And this was a bit of carbon tool steel I got from a friend a while ago. Gave me some tools. I've turned that into a hot cut, thinner cutting edge and curves. So when you're cutting on your bit of steel, you can lay it on there and you bring it towards you. I was watching Roy from Christ and Nine work. He had a centre punch mark that he worked to, so he started off here, or say if I come from this end where the hole is, you would start here on the edge, give it a hit, work towards your point there. So these curved ones are really good because you can lay them on your steel, cut and move forward, cut, move forward, cut. That's that one. Then your handle type. This is a hot cut. I made this from some 4140. I'm not sure what bought ones are for cold chisels. I'm not sure what sort of steel. I'd say it'd be up around the range of the 4140, 4340. I don't know about 5160, something like that. This is 4140. I did harden and temper it. I've got it fairly narrow here, cutting blade. That's for doing hot cuts on the anvil. Then when you get through your material, you put a cutting plate underneath so you don't damage your anvil. These are handy. Things that I've made out of the spring steel, that one and that one, I do an oil, and I do it the old blacksmith way. When I first started doing my blacksmithing a few years ago, I tested and experimented. I've got it down pretty well now with my oil. So I will bring a tool, even a punch. That's out of spring steel. That's my favourite punch when I'm doing holes, especially for tongs. I do it in oil, vegetable oil. Now, once I've got my rough shape, I will heat this to critical temperature, non-magnetic, 3 times. Put it on a fire brick, let it go to a black heat. On the 4th time I'll bring it up to critical temperature, which you get to know after a while. You can have a magnet there. I use an old, what's the name magnet? I use a welding magnet. I'll just have it somewhere near the forge and see whether it's magnetic or non-magnetic. So on the 4th time, and it's best to bring these up slowly. Turn your forge right down, bring them up slowly. So on the 4th time, bring it up to non-magnetic, into the oil, up and down, figure of 8s, round and round. Mainly in the first, I do something like that. I would do the first inch, 2 inches, round and round, up and down. Right, take it out. I've got a bit of rag. I'll clean it. I'll have a bit of emery paper or grinding disc somewhere. I'll test it with a file, because at that stage it will be hardened, not tempered, but there'll still be heat in the rest of this steel, this material. I will scuff it up with a brick or emery pad disc, sanding disc, like one of these. Give it a good shine up on the edge, so you've got a shiny bit where you can start to watch your colours run. I like to do it on the wider surface, give it a bit of a shine up, and on your cutting edge. So then you're holding this in your tongue, you're now watching for the colour you want to run down to this cutting edge. For a cold chisel, I usually go a bit beyond straw colour, like into your peacock, your purpley bronze sort of colour. It's up to your own preference what you do there. With the hot cut, I'll just go to straw, dark straw colour. With that, same thing, 3 times, bring it up to critical temperature 3 times. Each time let it cool down to black heat. Pick it up, put it in the forge, bring it up to critical temperature. On the 4th time, then you dip it in with oil. Figure 8, up and down, figure 8, up and down. And same thing, polish this off, polish your cutting edge off. After it's hardened, don't forget you've still got all your heat in here. Some people use a file, some blacksmiths use a file. I don't use these much anymore, so I just use these. Polish it up. I even put it on the grinder maybe or something. Polish it up. So you can start to see those colours running from the heat that's stored up in here, running down. When you get the desired colour, like for me, on this hot cut I would go straw into the oil, but this time around and around doing that, and then when you hear it stop sizzling a bit and you think it's cool enough, because you want this hitting end soft, that's to be hard and tempered, hitting end to be soft. After you've done that, put the whole lot in to stop the temper, and then because that's the last, it'll still be soft. As you can see, mine nice and soft, especially when you're hitting it with a hardened hammer. And also make sure you take your burrs off when you get burrs. And here have a nice domed hitting area. So now I'm going to get a bit of spring steel, and I was just watching DF Dennis, DF in the Forge I think he's called. Oh, this is just another one of my first hot cuts I made, with a bit of round the handle, full of the side. So that's just one of my nice sort of tapered thin cutting edge there. Another one more. So what I want to do today is make a cutting chisel. I saw Dennis doing one. I want to do one because I'll show you. I think I said a while ago, with this new anvil and that silly hardy hole, I've got to change the hardy hole dimension. So I've changed that. Instead of welding bits on of steel to, for a resting surface, like a collar, I had my friend over the road who's a mechanic who gives me all my spring and coil spring. He gave me some of these offcuts. I think they're mild. So I thought, instead of doing all that welding, I've got these that have already got a hole. This one I did the hard way. I drilled, then I made a punch and punched it out, but so that I can make collars for hardy tools that will just slip through there, and I'll have a ready formed collar. So today I want to make a chisel, so that when I do these, instead of punching in that and I've got too hot, I'll just chisel it out. Dennis cut a beautiful elongated hole just by doing the chiseling. So that's what I want to do today. I hope my wrist has been a bit sore. So that's what we're going to do today. I've got to cut a bit of, I think I've got a bit of spring. So the Sony's going good. So guys, I'll be back soon. firing it up at this stage. I'm just doing a bit of a Mark Aspery style there. where he puts that nice little indication curve in when you're grabbing it with your hand. I just like it, so I'm doing it again on this one. It's just something I like doing, see how it turns out. You do it over the horn as you saw, so we'll see how that goes. Got a bit of fish lipping, so what I'll do is next time I'll take that out, put it on that end and upset it, fold it down flat, ready to do the cutting end. Nearly there, and then we'll start on the cutting edge. The cutting bit is going to be like this. Not like this. It's going to be like this. It's going to be used for chiseling out. Keep the strength in there, so I hope that works.
Critical temperature. I'll let this cool to black heat, then reheat it to this critical temperature 3 times, then I'll show you the hardening temperature. I've just had some hot steel put in there, just heating the oil up ready for the hardening temperature. Okay, next heat we're going to do the hardening and tempering. That's pretty hard. Now we'll clean that up. And we'll watch that. See the heat still in there? Straw colour's got to come down now. See the straw colour? There's a teapot coming up this way. Crimson teapot. I'm going to give it a bit more, then I'm going to punch it in. Nice bronze colour, man. See that? Alright, I'm going to dump it. go with water. Let's have a look at this. I don't know if you can see the colours yet. Let me sit down for a minute. See that light bronzy colour? It'll start to become a little bit of the crimson peacock up here. So I'll give this a grind in a minute. I'm going to grind it and then we're going to... Have I got my thing right there? Yeah, I think I have. For when I'm chiseling. That indent I'm talking about. And I'm going to put in some more water, it's a bit hot. Okay. That's an indent. Mark Aspery dog. Use this chisel. Alright, I'm going to get the grinder set up. I think I missed the grinder. If you don't hit that button right, you miss it. So I've done this. I'm going to see if it cuts out that oblong now. Let's see what happens. Did you get a hot steel? Focus it good. Enough my last one. I'll come back. I'm going to make this chisel end a bit smaller. Let's see how this goes. I've taken it down a bit.
Put it over a bit now. Okay, yes, but come. Slowly, get the hole down. Get ready, but it's working. Just let that bit down. Tighten it out. You get straighter. Yeah, it stood up all right. It's flowed over a little bit, but gee. Now, with the hardening and tempering, let me zoom out. See how this is mushrooming over? It shows you that it worked good. This is supposed to be soft. You don't want to be hitting that with a hard hammer against hard carbon steel. And that is wearing over, so that's good. You'd rather have it that than the other way. And in this end, it's hard. A bit more refined, and this would be a good chisel. Anyway guys, that'll do it for today. I've got to go out soon. Have a rest. I'm a bit knackered. So that's the chisel, guys. I hope you liked that. Hope you learned a bit out of it. The hardening and tempering, so you can do it. That's with spring steel. You can do it. The old ways still work. If you haven't got tempering ovens and all this sort of stuff, do it the old way. Right guys, the Sony's still going, so thank God for that. Right, that'll do it for this one guys. I'm going to have some lunch and then get going. Catch you on the next one.